is architect and urban planner, but very much a practitioner who worked for many years in the Great Lakes region in Rwanda, and shows his very interesting experiences. Please, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me and giving me actually now the second opportunity today to dive in the challenges of urbanization in Africa. I already had a little presentation this morning where I was more focusing on urban development, on urban transformation processes. This session here is more about the supply chain, and I'm happy then to have all these panelists, very interesting people here to discuss the subject. I will use the opportunity to give a short overview about the scope of urban development in the large cities of Africa, in emerging megacities. For those who have already attended the initial workshop, there will be sometimes a bit similar slides, but I will highlight different elements. So, well, this one I can't change much. This is the map of the 20 largest cities in Africa at the end of the century. So we see that according to those projections from from Toronto, the Center for Global Cities, who has projected those, 13 out of 20 will be in Africa. And we see also the scale of these cities is something we have no idea about yet. We talk about cities as large as 88 million inhabitants, like Lagos, Kinshasa a little bit less, and Dar es Salaam about 73. And this is due to the demographic development, the large hinterlands of the coastal areas of Africa, but also in-continent areas that keep growing for another 100 years, while the rest of the world is currently stagnating. The Western world, anyway, China is also about to reach the peak of urbanization, while India might grow for another 20 years and then start shrinking again. So for those who are not so familiar with the large cities, this is how they look like. So we have, this is Dar es Salaam, quite a good example of such a city. We have very well-developed downtown areas with towers, with hotels and office buildings and so on. But the large majority in Dar es Salaam, it's even beyond 80%, is informal, unplanned, mainly single-story buildings, which are vulnerable at many levels, like floods here, but also fires, gang violence, and so on. So if you extrapolate the business as usual development, as Vincent has actually described it quite well in his keynote, we will see that cities like Dar es Salaam would start covering areas that are almost as much as big as Switzerland, or as, let's say, the inhabitable part of Switzerland, even bigger. If we look at the West African area between Abidjan and Lagos, it would even be as large as Italy. So this area will be covered if the urban development continues at low-rise level as we are having it right now, and once it reaches its 500 million inhabitants. Now, how will these cities be built in case of the business as usual case? This is a picture from Kigali, where I was based, where you can see this is a traditional brick field where brick makers are shaping and firing their bricks. They are essentially using firewood, so they are contributing a lot to deforestation. On the bottom, we can see the traditionally made cement blocks, which are, of course, referring then to the cement factories in the area. But however, there is a huge environmental impact, being it on CO2 deforestation, but also in the destruction of marshlands. The houses are built also with adobe blocks, unfired earth blocks, quite a lot. These are especially vulnerable to the increasing heavy rains. So we have lots of stormwater damages in Kigali. Nearly every heavy rain is destroying houses and actually also killing people. We have also settlement fires and that are quite frequent in those areas where they use timber for construction. There are also efforts to build multi-story buildings already. However, the concrete that is applied is of very bad quality in most of the cases. About 80% of those houses are unengineered and therefore ill-designed in terms of reinforcement and reinforcement steel coverage, and we have collapses whenever there is an earthquake or even without earthquakes. So we have, yes. There is, of course, also the formal industry. We have also a representative on the panel, Andrea, who supplies technology for brick factories. We have cement factories. We have also people here that are promoting low-carbon cement production. Skat itself, back in the 80s, we have been involved in the design of those in Africa as well. And of course, if this sector can grow, if a local sector can grow, then we can imagine that these areas, which is so, these large carpets of informal settlements, that they could actually be replaced or actually developed in a more controlled way, designed and with multi-story buildings. So, but how many buildings do we have to supply in order to actually allow this type of development rather than the informal urbanization carpet? In Dar es Salaam right now, it's about 500 houses per day that would have to be supplied in order to transform the city. In this area here between Abidjan and Lagos, it's already 3,000, and it will peak, as you can see, in the 60s, 70s, at about 10,000 houses per day. So when we really want to change the cities towards cities that have green space, that have protected lagoons and marshlands and green areas, agro-industrial hinterlands, we have to get there somehow, and that's the question now, how? Come to the next. Sorry, let me. Here, yeah. Okay, if we look at the number of factories or even industrial zones we need, you can see it here on this map. So we need between 50 and 100 industrial zones in this area to be established in the next 30 years, in order to produce the given number of houses. So it's actually our generation, it's us now that we have to prepare the capacity, the industrial supply capacity, the construction capacity to keep up with the growth of this area. Now, a few slides on how we had the opportunity actually to work on these supply chains in Rwanda and in the Great Lakes region. This is at the end of another corridor, the Central Corridor, together with within a project from STC. So there actually we managed, we could actually demonstrate that a rapid market penetration of material for story construction is possible. You can see the blue line there, which is the market, how it grows, and the red line is the market penetration triggered by a series of measures which I will just show you now. The end product, one of the end products which we developed is these eco-industrial parks, which each one are supposed to reduce up to 1 million, or let's say at least 500,000 tons of CO2 per year. So if you have an impression about that. Sorry. Here, yeah. Okay, what did we do to get there? So the first question was, okay, how can we actually reshape these already existing large areas of informal settlements? So we developed, together with UN Habitat, a guide for participatory transformation of those areas. So how we need to mobilize the existing inhabitants, we need to link them up with possible investors, with the authorities, obviously, who are guiding the whole process. I have the guides here, so you're welcome to look at it later on. We also, yeah, here we are. We developed, there is a pointer. Yeah. No, maybe. together with the authorities, we developed methods to transform the small neighborhoods, larger neighborhoods, from these informal, unplanned areas into city blocks that have all the qualities the people actually want. There are different ways to do it incrementally or to do it as a project that actually redevelops it also with the involvement of investors or of government funds. We worked on a construction system that allowed small-scale entrepreneurs, small-scale builders to build storied houses, 2-, 3-floor buildings with limited engineering capacities and also with limited equipment. This is the base unit, which is modular, with which one can build houses of all kinds, including the ones which you saw. You can make entire city blocks with it. And we demonstrated that at a couple of places here. This is at UN Habitat in Nairobi. You might recognize in the blue dress, there is Vincent Kicho, who was actually inaugurating that building in 2 years back. And we provided all the different accompanying handbooks and trainings for masons, for engineers, for homeowners actually to design their own house type out of that. And we demonstrated it as well, but this was very important to have buildings there which the people from the neighborhood could actually visit it. We did it in a way that is very undecorated. It looks a bit naked, but every owner can, of course, decorate, add balconies or whatever, do whatever he likes, paint it. But they copied it in multiple ways very rapidly, in a way that the next picture shows that. This is the government application now. But we had very rapidly lots of copies of multiple shape, multiple size. But also the government joined in and actually produced those, rolled out this transformation process now citywide. I don't know, I lost the picture again. These are more recent pictures. They have been finishing now the first larger neighborhood and are starting now with other ones. So this is also in situ rehousing, reconstruction with this construction system, with also with various designs. And it's now being rolled out in Rwanda. Let me see if I can see the next picture. Now for the industry. This demand has triggered a lot of interest among investors as well. So we had small investors who wanted to establish brickyards. We had also the larger producers that extended their own production, added equipment, or even built new factories. And we provided a couple of services to this to the industry, like we mapped all the clay reserves in the country. We availed a large catalog of different technologies for the small producers to the large producers, and also help them to showcase them and to help the pioneer to succeed with it. So we focused a bit more on the local investors, while of course international company like Andreas, they supplied then the technologies for the large producers. And here, I think that's the last slide. This is now an illustration of the eco-industrial park, which has been designed and been launched, I mean, in terms of announced, that should accommodate all type of small scale, medium scale, and also larger producers of timber, of low carbon cement, of precast concrete, etc., in order to increase the supply capacity of the local industry. Thank you very much.